All right, well, you know, Dan, where's Dan? That was incredibly way too nice. I'm tearing up a little. For those of you who don't know, one of the traditions in cardiology for the fellows when they complete their fellowship is a roast. And I have done a mini roast before of John, but this time I was able to dive a little deeper.
Sorry.
The best roasts are done with love. And I work with John day in and day out. And there's a lot of love here, John. There's a lot of love. And John comes into my office one day and he says, "Let me try on your coat." I think actually that is your coat. He goes, "Take a picture of me. I'm going to stand like this." Did you think I wouldn't use it? All right. So, the man, the myth, the legend. Start with the myth. John claims 42 years at Dartmouth-Hitchcock, which means he started in 1973. There's 42, and many of you may not know that John is a Yankees fan up here. One of the reasons I bond with John, way to go, John, right? Who knows who this is?
Mo.
Rivera, right? And he's wearing 42, because that was the number of that. Jackie Robinson. Okay.
Actually, everywhere Jackie Robinson's number was Mariano Rivera.
There you go. So, John, he's wearing the 42.
You're going to give me a picture. Is that what you're trying? Is this was leading to?
Don't worry, we'll get to it. So we looked into this. Apparently, DHMC didn't even exist back then. Okay. So I don't know where you come up with these 42 years nonsense. He actually has 142 years, and he asked me to say that because he knew Dan Jansen was here, and he wants full credit for 142 years in benefits. And definitely Service Club. He's going all 3 nights. All right, so a brief timeline of John's journey so far. There's pre-DHMC employment. There's the 70s. And I really looked over your file carefully. After the 70s, there was more of the 70s. And after that, there was more of the 70s. And then there was 7 million stress tests. And then now. That's the timeline, pretty much. So here's pre-DHMC employment. John Clarke, born in 1887, Amish country. Here he is on the right. And the quote on this caption was, "We're Ma Pa!" I did use that in the mini roast before. And many of you are probably curious to see John's first car. Thank you, Martha, for the picture of John's first car, right here. You can see it says right up there, first car. But myth or legend, John was in the Marines. Okay, there's John Cena as the Marine. You can see he's pretty buff guy. And let's see John when he was in the Marines. Oh, there you go. A little softer Marine. Kinder, gentler Marine. But it's true, John was in the Marines. John's very proud of that. All right, into the 70s. 1973, I looked up some major events in 1973. The president was Richard Nixon. He was actually inaugurated for his 2nd term in January. Watergate scandal ensues that year. That's the year John comes to Dartmouth. Is there a connection? I'll let you be the judge. But I'm suspicious. I'm definitely suspicious. Best picture that year was, John? It's your favorite movie.
Charles.
The Godfather.
Godfather.
John makes all his friends call him John Corleone. And that is stuck till today.
It's kissing the ring that's the hottest part.
Yeah. Music, Led Zeppelin plays before 56,000 people, which is the largest live performance at that time at Tampa Stadium, breaking the prior record set by the Beatles in Shea Stadium. That may have shaped some of John's life as well. In sports, Secretariat wins the Triple Crown. The New York Knicks win. I actually didn't know that they ever won. And I saw this interesting tidbit. O.J. Simpson becomes the first running back to rush for 2,000 yards. He's playing for the Bills then. So John loves everything about the 70s. Name one thing on here that he doesn't love. And there's Bruce Lee, the Rolling Stones, The Godfather, of course, Led Zeppelin. You'll hear always playing as you walk by the stress lab room. And Bo Derek and Farrah Fawcett, I believe John was a fan of as well. Which gets to my next point, next myth, that John is the James Bond of DHMC. Women want him and men want to be him.
Only some men.
Can he say that?
Not me.
It's close to it. Dan, don't tell on us. So we pursued a private investigation to see if this myth was true and followed him around a bit with some cameras. Surprisingly, it does turn out to be true. Here's some of the proof. Okay. And we even have a woman in the Echo Lab who came to work dressed up as John one day. That's a true story. That's Bethany. So here's some John Clarke trivia. Other than The Godfather, what is John's favorite movie?
Jaws.
Jaws. So Jaws came out in 1975. It was re-released this past June, 40 years later. This movie has kind of spanned your career, so maybe it's time to watch again, John. And it's definitely time for a bigger boat. So, again, remember I had the 70s listed 3 times and then just a zillion stress tests and then now. So I think a lot of the 70s really shaped John, and he's tried to emulate some key figures from the 70s for his personal style. You may recognize Colonel Potter. And, of course, Late Night with John Carson.
You told me you would try to emulate me.
Okay, so here's some John Clarke trivia for you. Music you might hear when going for a stress test with John Clarke. You might hear The Doors, Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, of course. And then this was weird. Anne Murray, like. I don't know. Anne Murray. Found that one buried. So 7 million stress tests later, has he maintained his sanity? That's the question I asked myself when reviewing some of these next few slides.
No, the bigger question is whether he had it to start with.
Put that down as another infamous John quote. It's definitely questionable. So occasionally John will go out in public in his pajamas, as evidence here. It's a perfect fit. And there you go. How did I not use it? How did I not use it? But it gets worse. Not only will he go out in his pajamas sometimes, but at some of the Echo Lab parties, he's been known to put on other people's clothing. That is Michelle Gauna's sweater. And I guess John brought that purse with him. It was matching, so he had to put on the sweater. Just gonna look at that for a minute. All right, so we made him sign that he would no longer, in retirement, go out in public in pajamas or Michelle Gamma's clothes. So here he is signing. I, John Clarke, will not go out in pajamas or Michelle Gamma's clothes. So unfortunately, it appears that the general is leaving the building. This is a sketch that one of our EKG techs made of John, and it's hanging upstairs. And again, you're coming upstairs just to pose. That's not nice. I'll take a picture. But he has much to be proud of what he accomplished, so maybe time to relax a bit now. He's got plenty of important people waiting for him at home. There's more Clarks out there. And he's got some furry friends too. You may not know this, but he's got a little farm at home with about 25 goats. Is that the
40.
Here's Martha with a baby, one of the baby goats, and this is Ava, my 3-year-old, who Martha often babysits for us. We're lucky. And a lot of people will see Martha and say, "There's no way she is related to that guy." She's so normal. She's so nice. But then again, people might say that about Ava and me. That's okay. So congratulations to John on 42 years. And it looks like Elvis is leaving the building.